What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Get Ellievated Podcast, where we talk about ways to elevate your life, elevate your business, and elevate your income, all right? So I'm so excited to be back again for season 3 with my amazing friend. He is just doing amazing things. The way we met is so amazing. The next things are so amazing. So I want you guys to go ahead and grab your notebook, grab a pen, and let's get into these gems. Listen, everything you need to change your life is already within you. You need to believe that it has to work or it has to work. You got this. Scale your business, make more money, create your best life, and let's get elevated. Welcome to the podcast. All right, y'all, welcome back into the show. So I have to just introduce Fox. Y'all, listen, if you want to understand how to get this government bag and be very well connected and just be dapper, look at the outfit. This is the guy. So please introduce yourself to the people.
Well, what's going on, everyone? My name is Fox Wade. I'm the CEO of Black Fox, the CEO of GovCon Blueprint, the CEO of Fox and Moon, and also the CEO of a newly formed company called Techtura. I particularly focus on doing business with the government because the government has this one thing that I love so much, which is endless funding.
Endless. Recession-proof.
Recession-proof all day.
Wow. That's fantastic. So I just need to know, how did you get started in this? Like, how did you find the government, or did the government find you?
You know, crazy thing about it is that I was in the United States Army. So from the age of 18 up until, I did 14 years in the United States Army. Joined at 18. I was homeless at the time, didn't have any other way to go. And I was like, that college thing looks good, but that's money. So I decided to join the Army. Came into the Army in 2000. Everybody know what happened in 2001. Yeah. I found myself in Afghanistan at 19 years old. And that was like the first time I wouldn't say the first time I've ever been out the country before as a kid.
What a start.
I know, right? So I'm in Afghanistan, whatever. Then after that, deployed to Iraq multiple times, 4 times to Iraq. I was injured once. And then once I was injured, I did a few more years in the United States Army, but then decided to medically retire. But one thing in particular spoke out to me. On one deployment, right? It was a deployment to northern Iraq. I was in a place called Curt. And in Curt, I remember being on base, and I was just looking, right? Somebody said, just pay attention. Met this guy. He was a contractor, and he was picking up trash. And I said, hey, man, how much you make, picking up trash? He's like, I make $150K a year. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up.
Huh?
Army paying me like $55,000, and I got to go out here and fight every day. And you just stopping by picking up my trash. And he was like, yeah, I'm a contractor. And I was like, okay, all right. Didn't dawn on me just then. Then there was one guy I met to where he would deliver the water pallets, right? Because, we needed water, whatever. So he would deliver the water pallets on the base. And I was like, man, this is a cool job. He would drive a forklift, whatever, drop it, going by his best. I said, how much you make a year doing this? He was like, I make about $200K as a contractor. I'm like,
so you heard this word contractor again. You're
over and over again, right? And then one day I sat on the roof of a building. I climbed up the roof and sat on it. And I just looked at the overall operations of the base. And I saw all these civilians that were delivering stuff, picking up. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the one got to put on all this gear, heavy all these rounds, right? And it dawned on me, but I didn't move until then. So I got out the military in 2014, worked a few various jobs, but then I ended up working for a government agency called FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, whatever. So I worked for FEMA for a year, and they made me into a program analyst to where I would evaluate contracts and grants. And then one of them came across my desk, and I had to approve it. It was a $2.7 million contract for a company in West Virginia to install smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in low-income housing.
And that was the work.
$2.7 million for 2 years. I'm making $80K a year. I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like,
hold up.
I'm like, bro, you on the wrong side. Bro. And so I was so intrigued by it. I ended up taking it to my manager and I said, how are y'all even knowing that they're actually doing this? And they said, well, we don't really have a evaluation process to know that they're actually doing the work. We just trusting that they're doing what they're saying. I was
Child, well, trust me.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this resignation in, and I'm gonna go try something else.
I'm about to go try something else.
Yeah. So I end up, I actually resigned. I had no plan.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the military in me, whatever. And ended up this company called worked for this company called Bit Group. They're a government contracting firm, and they made me the director of IT. And so, but they wanted me to do this thing called business development, to where I'll go to networking events.
Yeah.
I was meeting with people. I was looking at I was looking at too much data, to be honest with you. And at these networking events, because of my character and how I carry myself, whatever, somebody was like, you should start your own company because people like you, you're networking, all this stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. I may do that. You
just need someone to plant that seed.
Yeah. And so, I came up with the concept of my company, Black Fox. That was my military call sign. So I came up with the company, Black Fox, launched it May 2018. Launched it 1 May 2018. And then 18 days later, I got my first government contract for $30K. Got my government.
That's fat. Wait a minute. So somebody could start this and maybe get there first in like 60 days, 90 days?
Oh, people in my program, 48 hours. So got the contract.
Oh my God.
Got the contract. It was $30K. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm working a contract myself because, I wanted to, be able to build a relationship with the customer. The customer liked me so much is that 2 months later, they were like, hey, we got some more work for you. It was $60K. Right. And then by me developing other relationship with other contractors, this other company came to me and said, hey, we have a $10 million contract, but we need a minority business enterprise certified company to be on it. And so we end up getting 10% of that. So I had $1 million contract. I ain't had to write no contract or anything, no proposal. And then I was like, damn, I got $1 million contract. So within a 9-month span of 1 May up until the end of December, I'm already at 7 figures already, based upon networking,
and the
understanding, contracting. And then that's when I was like, all right, cool. I can work all three, or I can start hiring people, right?
Yeah.
Started hiring people, and now I'm going after the next and next and next and next. And now, we closed the deal with a government agency in Maryland, Baltimore County Public Schools, for $30 million contract for 5 years. And so, it's just that start of, of paying attention, looking at the landscape of business and saying, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong side.
I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah, I'm on the wrong side. How about I get on this side? And now, now we're going after
the
50,
big dogs.
8, sometimes it's bone chilling a little bit.
Right?
Sometimes to be writing proposals and putting it all together, and you submit it and you look at the numbers like,
that's amazing.
Like, damn, we just submitted an $80 million contract.
And this is guaranteed money. $30 million over 6 years, like they're going to pay.
Yeah. And typically a contract is 1 to 5 years, right? Depending on the level of government. And one thing that we do is that our portfolio is diversified. So we focus on federal, state, local government, and then the hidden government agency that nobody even talk about, which is quasi-government.
Yeah.
Right? Your quasi-government is like, here in Atlanta, you have MARTA, right? They do the train systems, but the trains go through multiple counties. So funding comes from multiple different jurisdictions. So we focus on them too, because a lot of people overlook those agencies. Me and a high school friend of mine, I found an opportunity in the state of Michigan, and we opened up a Detroit office too. So we found an opportunity in the state of Michigan last year. I called him up and said, hey, I know your firm is based in Michigan. We want to partner on this opportunity. We helped write it, $27 million deal that we won. Wow. So it's like,
that's incredible.
It's like once you understand the formula and you get rolling, and it doesn't matter what industry you in.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Are there any particular industries that are more successful with government contracting?
Honestly,
what's like the key?
So if you look at it from the most dollars spent, construction is always number one.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason why construction is always number one is because things are old, things need to be built, things need to be renovated, roads need to be repaired. Airport roofs need to get replaced. So construction is always $1 trillion pot of money.
Yeah.
The second one is information technology, right? Because everything we do is associated with some type of system, some type of tech, whatever. And then you have healthcare, right? So healthcare as well. A lot of people overlook that. And that's why we transitioned our company, Black Fox, last year into a healthcare support company.
Huh.
Yeah, even though we do a lot of other stuff as well, but our focus is that. And even though we just won a contract yesterday or day before yesterday, it's an education contract. We won one before, but I was just baffled at it, right?
Yeah.
It's an education contract. And if you go to our website, you can see that we do healthcare support, public health, information technology, but we don't have education on it. But our proposal was so impressive to them, they didn't care. They were just like, nope, your proposal's great. You can meet the need. Your pricing is good. We award you the contract.
That is incredible. So you really can be any type of business, any type of industry, and pivot according to what's needed.
That's right.
So you mentioned something about certifications. Walk me through that, and what certifications do Black-owned businesses need? Because I feel like there's a lot of businesses, women-owned, Black-owned, that could position themselves, but they might not be using that to their advantage.
And they're not, because I don't think they understand how to leverage them. Just because you have it doesn't mean that you're going to get awarded a contract if you don't know how to use it, right? It's kind of like, I always told people, having a small business designator is like having a gun.
Right.
Okay. You can buy a gun. Everybody can own a gun.
Yeah.
But do you know how to effectively shoot it?
Do you know how to use that?
Exactly, right? And the other things is, do you understand the fundamentals of shooting, right? Breathe control, trigger squeeze, right? Eyesight. So if you have a small business program, for example, a woman, right?
Yeah.
If you are a woman, own small business, right? And you go through the verification process and you get certified, because it's not a certification. It's more of you're verified as a woman. Now you get to look at that and you say, all right, I got this woman on small business certification. What are the benefits surrounded about it, right? Okay, it helps me win contracts faster, because contracts can be set aside only for a certified woman-owned small business. There are all these funding mechanisms out there, right? One of the funding mechanisms that a lot of people don't talk about, and I harp on it a lot because I came across it one day, is your county has this thing called an Economic Development Authority, okay? And they got money all the time. And sometimes they got too much money and they're trying to throw the money at you, because at the end of the closeout year.
Throw it at me.
Come on. At the end of the closeout year, if they got to report that they got so much money left over, then what happens? Now that
they get underfunded the next year.
Exactly. The county commissioner is going to look at it and say, all right, well, for the past 3 years, you've had a surplus of $5 million. We can put that over here.
Okay.
Right. Now it's like, no, we don't want to do that. So you can go to your Economic Development Authority, no matter what your credit score is, that stuff don't apply, right? You can get at least $50K of funding to be able to help you out. Having that small business program even helps you even better, because you're looked at as what?
Yes.
As a small disadvantaged business, whether you're woman-owned, veteran-owned, Black-owned, disabled, disabled, which is another one people overlook, Native American, Hispanic. There's another one for.
That's good.
I think I forgot what it is.
Development Authority.
Yep. Okay. Economic Development Authority, right? Because each county, right, is a business.
Yes.
It's a business. So in order for that business to grow, you need what? You need more jobs. You need more of that for the economy to move. Exactly. That's why you see it. The county is always like, bring your business here.
Yes.
Or a state is like, bring your business here. So you got that on the local level, and then your state has a duplicate office. It's kind of weird how they do it. They got another office to where, same thing, right? They got the funding in there for economic development.
So why don't more people know about this? Like, I only know this because I know you.
The word government scares people.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Right. I talk to people all the time, and I'm like, you can sell to the government, and they hear the word government, they like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. I don't want to deal with that. I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
The government wants you.
Yes.
Right? Because of the increase of the small business numbers President Biden, it's a cascading effect that goes from federal, state, local to city. So they're telling you, no, we're going to increase the numbers, meaning what? More funding, more money is being pushed down.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that this money gets pushed out. And it's all based upon ego when they come to government, right? Because the government is like this. All right, look how many small, disadvantaged, Black-owned, Native American-owned companies that we are able to support over here. So now the report looks good. The report goes up, and what happens?
And there we go.
All right, they get more money. They get more funding because you're proving that you have an effective program, and you need more to be able to perform.
I'm just over here like my brain is doing cartwheels thinking about how businesses can really just add that on. Because I think one thing you've told me is businesses can still service their customer. You can still be on social media. You can still go B2C, but you can also add in that other element. How do you think businesses can do both? Like, how can they manage both sides? And do you need to have a big team to execute these contracts? Because that's another thing I think of. How do you get the people to actually help you do that?
So, I mean, when you go on after any opportunity, right? And this is one thing in my program that I just harp on a lot. Yeah. And it is pricing, right? Pricing is broken down into a few different categories. You have your overhead costs, right? You have the direct labor rate that you're going to pay somebody to do something per hour. You have fringe benefits, and that's your, medical, dental, hearing, 401k and all this stuff. And then you have your general administration, which is your salary as a CEO. You got your executive staff salary as well. And then you got to factor in your profit in there. So every deal that we go after, I already have it calculated on how much it's going to cost me to do this work. And that's having every single person in place. Everybody's getting paid. And then I got my profit over here because I don't want to touch my profit. Exactly. I want to make sure I'm getting paid. And G&A, and my profit is me. That's me putting in all this stress and risk and all this
Taking
stuff.
All these phone calls.
So when you're looking for, the right people, there's, different sources. I mean, sometimes you can just steal people from people. I'll be honest with you, you go to LinkedIn and see somebody working a certain position. You can just say, hey, I got a job opportunity for you. You making $100K over here. I'll pay you $115. Or you can go to the open market. I like to use partnerships with Hare military. I mean, there's so many different nonprofits out there. You could do partnerships with them. Yeah. I partner with State Department of Labor to find the resources that can do it. And sometimes it's just all about just listening to people. You know? I know my staff on Black Fox. I started off. I started my people young, and then I trained them to be proposal writers. To be the things that I'm great at, and I just filter it off to them.
Yeah, now you have it in house.
Oh yeah. Now, but the thing about it is that you want to bring people that buys in to the vision, because I've had. And it's beautiful to say this, but in 5 years of running Black Fox, I've only had one person resign, and I've only had to fire one person.
That's great.
Let me take that word back. I've only had to relieve one person, not fired.
I like that.
Yeah, but it's like, finding people that can just buy into it, but also, not focusing on what you need, but focusing on what they like to do. If they got a strength and they really want to do it, then bring them on your team, because it's going to make them happy because they want to do that particular job.
Exactly. So one thing that really stands out to me about your story and what you're talking about is building relationships. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, specifically in our community, we don't always know how to network. We don't always know how to, we can meet people, but how to effectively sustain the relationship so that it becomes beneficial. So what do you think are tips and strategies you've used to really build your network? Because that's a huge part of your success right now too.
It is hard to try to sustain relationships. I'm like this. I hunt with people who want to hunt. Yeah. Right. If we met and we network and I feel like I'm pulling you to go be a great hunter, I gotta let you go because that's exerted energy that I don't want to deal with. But to network, I mean, you got to be a part of associations, right? Or you got to attend events, you know, and you got to be very strategic because there's tons of them out there.
So many.
But which ones align with your overall goals and mission? For me, I know in government contracting, in order to be more successful on the federal level, we join a few different organizations, the National Contract Management Association, which is big. We've been trying to get into CDC for the past 6 months, and that's where they all are at, right? So I joined them. Matter of fact, I'm going to be their chairman of communications, probably on the next go around. Yeah, they asked me because they love my social media, and
I see you on the socials.
And what I've done is that I volunteered too.
Yeah.
The first 6 months I just volunteered, so that way they saw my value in me.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we love you, Foxy. Like you are just you good. You could do this, do that." Joining your local chamber of commerce.
Yes.
That's where the buyers are at. That's where the investors are at. That's where, you know, your true customer is at right there. And then the last one is just, you know, going to networking events.
Yeah.
And I think what it is that my success falls on, I don't try to sell you anything. I'm not. It's funny because like I'll go out and I just be myself. We hanging out, having fun, dancing. And people are like, what do you do?
Right.
They're more intrigued by me, and then when I tell them what I do, now that opens up a door because I'm relatable. I'm not meeting you like, hey, here's my business card.
Come call me.
Yeah. Can I sell you something? Now you're operating out of what they call it. Like you're being desperate for business.
Yeah.
Versus just being yourself, and then they like you. You know, it's like one guy I met. And, you know, he's helping us win a subcontract with CDC. But when we were at an event and I went to their table, I took a knee and I was just like, I said, man, this is a lot. And he looked at me, he said, yeah, it is a lot. It was him and another woman. And I was like, and I said, no, not the conference. I said, man, these kids, they a lot. And he was like, tell me about it, man. So we sat there for 30 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Just talking about kids. Yeah. And then next thing you know what they started doing? They put out their phones and now they're showing me their kids. And so now
that's a different level.
So now we talk on the phone like we've known each other for years.
Wow.
All because of, just being yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
And the other day it's so funny. He called me. He was like, yo, punk A. Like I feel like we've been brothers for years because we go golfing together and stuff like that now. He's like, man, I feel like I've known you for years, man.
Yeah, you just got to let it happen.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, man. I said, this is who I am. I said, I'm like this 24/7. I don't change. This is me, who I am. I said, if you notice, I don't try to sell people anything. I just want you to just trust in me because of who I am.
Yeah, and allow it to go from there.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. I think what you said about it being natural, just let it come. You've got to also go out there and meet people. You can't ask for connections and blessings and more business and be in your house all the time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And you can't look at relationships as transactional.
Yes.
That was my fault in my first couple of years of business because I would meet great people, but in my mind I'm trying to do what?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the bag.
Get stuff.
Right? And then when I stopped being transactional and start being more, truly genuine, it just came out to be like, oh man, you're a great guy.
Yeah. And then people are encouraged. They want to help you. So I want to ask you this. You have done so much. You've really elevated your life, right? We're talking about getting elevated. We're talking about elevating our business. What does wealth mean to you now that you've gone from being homeless to $30 million contracts on a Thursday? What does wealth mean to you, and how do you plan to keep pursuing it?
Wealth to me personally, is reverse engineering my bloodline. So I'm the first to do everything in my family. I think I'm the first to get a passport. So I'm like the first to go to college, the first to get an MBA, the first to start a company. And I was telling my wife this the other day. I said, I'm just the first at everything. And now I'm just looking at my kids and how they are seeing me. And they're like, yeah, my dad's a business owner. Like they tell their friends that my dad's a business owner. And, I'm going to do this and I'm going to take over this. And that is what wealth is to me, is when you change the trajectory of the future kids that you will never meet. You get to truly be yourself.
Yes.
You get to bask in health, and you get to bask in happiness. Just like now, I got these plans to go to Myrtle Beach this weekend.
Yeah.
I ain't booked nothing.
You just gonna show up.
I'm seriously, literally, probably because we're gonna drive there, or whatever. But because you fly so much, I was like, I want to do a road trip. Yeah, I just want to do a road trip and just hit the road and just look out, whatever. But I was like, I haven't even booked the hotels yet. That's wealth right there when you have freedom.
Yeah.
Right. And another thing about wealth is that for me, wealth is when you can be yourself. And I talk about this a lot. You can tell when people start making money that, when people say, oh, you change. No, you just being who you are.
Yeah.
Like you just
That's
being who you are,
Money just reveals more of who you already are.
Either you was an a-hole and quiet, and now you got money to be an a-hole out loud. Right? But for me, I haven't changed at all. Like I just been the same. Like the more money I make, I don't look at it like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. I look at it as in, okay, who can I help? Who can I support? Who wants to be elevated? Because I can't say who can I elevate, because you got to want it too. You got to want it. Right? And, go from there. So that's wealth when you can do that, because the one thing I know that is like, we know for a fact, no matter what you do in life, one day I'm going to die.
Yeah. That's one main truth
the
of
one
life.
thing, I'm going to get old and I'm going to die. And at the end of my deathbed, I can say who I helped or what I bought.
Yeah.
Which one is more valuable? Who I helped.
Of course. That's definitely wealth. Yeah. That's all we can take with us. Reverse engineering the bloodline. I love that.
Yeah.
So listen, now that you've told us about $30 million contracts, governments, getting our certifications, let the people know how they can find you, how they can work with you. What would be the best way to really get started in this?
So what I have is that I have a program called GovCon Blueprint.
Yes.
Kicked it off last year. I know a lot of people out there were getting scammed from other different people out there. And I wanted something that was genuine. I wanted something that was real, and I wanted people to have real results. So with my company, Black Fox, and GovCon Blueprint, it's called a mentorship and partnership program. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a coach. I'm not a teacher. I'm a practitioner / mentor. So what I do is that now I've built this, this mega company now.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to bring people in with zero experience, zero knowledge. You come into the program, you get mentored from me, and now I can give you the full game from you don't know anything to winning a contract, to managing the contract, to winning your next contract. And that's how we do it. So the mentorship and partnership program is at win.govconblueprint.com.
Okay.
It's
We're gonna make sure we link that for you.
Yeah, win.govconblueprint.com. And we'll give you a little bit more information as well on it. It's a great program. I don't play.
Yes, we know.
I talk to my people and, make sure that they got the right information to be successful.
Amazing. Well, Fox, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll have to do a part 2. If y'all want a part 2 to this, comment part 2 below. But make sure you guys share this with a friend, and make sure you follow him and go to that site so we can all get these $30 million contracts.
Perfect.
Period. All right, y'all. See you in the next episode.
So if you want to be on the next episode of Get Ellievated, or if you want to be in touch with me and the team, then you can email podcast@getellievated.com, or find me on Instagram and email me at hello@ellietalksmoney.com. Either way, we cannot wait to have you on the show and have you apply to be a guest for a part of the live business coaching. I'll see you guys soon.